covering the introduction, and then my friends are going to be covering artificial kidneys, artificial hearts, and neurosciences. The healthcare sector is actually a greatly vast sector. So we are going to be talking about the healthcare technology sector, which is expected to grow around 60 billion in just 1 year from 2022, 2021. That sounded wrong, but I think you got it. Anyway, so healthcare technologies it ranges from anything from a scalpel to a complete robot surgeon. So anything that has medical applications is considered as a healthcare technology. As an example, we have PET scans. So what PET scans do is we actually inject the patient with fluodeoxyglucose, which emit positrons. And when these positrons interact with the body's electrons, they annihilate. This is because positron is actually an antimatter. And we track the gamma rays from the annihilation, and we get the image of the soft tissue. We get an image like this from PET scans. And then we have MRIs, which create great magnetic fields, which lock protons into certain positions. And then we apply radio frequency to disrupt these protons' normal positions under the magnetic field. And when we release that, when we remove the radio frequency, these protons emit a electromagnetic energy from going back to their original positions. And we record this and get the images on the left. And we have this, an upcoming technology from Turkey. And we need to extend our special thanks to Nevzat Güneri from ODTÜ or METÜ. It's actually his research, and we did manage to get into contact with him. So what he told us was that you pass a current through the body, and if there's a tumors attract capillaries, which they use for energy consumption. And these capillaries are more conductive than the rest of the tissue. So what happens is that as the current is going through that tissue, it heats up more. And we can actually detect that using a thermal camera without invasive methods. And genomics is larger than genetics. So genetics specializes on genes and their functions, whereas genomics is the whole DNA of any living organism. We use bioinformatics for analyzing the data we acquire from DNA sequencing. And bioinformatics is more on the computer science section. So we use big data methods to analyze the data. So more electronically speaking, it's actually DNA sequencing, where we take the DNA sample, we put it in a flow cell, which is the image in the middle, and we replicate the DNA. What happens is that the base DNA pairs, as they match up, as the DNA replicates, they emit this unique light from each combination, and we detect the light using sensitive cameras. We filter the noise and amplify the signal, and then we get the DNA sequence completely. And in the future, actually even now, we actually use these robots. We are going to have surgeon robots, so these allow us to do minimally invasive surgeries at high success rate. So the image on the top left is actually the Da Vinci surgery robot.
Our next topic is artificial kidney. As you know, one of the most important part of the human body is kidney. Today, there are more than 2 million people who have to face with kidney problem. There are two common methods for dialysis. One is hemodialysis, the other one is peritoneal dialysis. Hemodialysis is done in center. Patient has to go to the center 3 days in a week and has to spend 4 hours for every visit. For peritoneal dialysis can be done at home while sleeping. The patient has to do this procedure every night for 8 or 10 hours. Both procedures have lots of disadvantages. Both are expensive, time-consuming, and patients' life quality is decreasing. In worldwide, $75 billion is spent each year on dialysis. So because of these factors, some companies or research centers develop some artificial kidney. Today, I want to talk about 2 of them. First one is private company product AVEC from Singapore. AVEC is a portable dialysis machine. It uses sorbent, which is a material that binds another substance or compound to it by physical or chemical reaction. This technology removes the uremic toxin from spent dialysis and regenerate fresh dialysis in real time. In case of PD therapy, spent dialysate from the patient pass through an absorber system and regenerated dialysis is sent back to the patient. The second one is developing in University of California, San Francisco. They are working to develop a small small implantable device that replicates many natural functions of the kidney. Super efficient membranes created using silicon nanotechnology will filter toxin from blood without requiring pumps or electrical power, while the bioreactor containing specially engineered kidney tubule cells will perform other renal activities, such as maintaining appropriate water volume in the blood, electrolyte balance, and metabolic function. This small biocompatible device attached to the circulatory system and removes toxins to the bladder as waste. Don't forget to drink water.
I will be talking about artificial hearts. And an artificial heart is a device that replaces the heart. They are typically used to bridge the time to heart transplantation or to permanently replace the heart in the case that a heart transplant is impossible. The first total heart is Jarvik 7. It was found in 1982. It was connected to an external pneumatic machine which uses compressed air to mimic the heartbeat. So the most common and used total artificial heart is CardioVest from Syncardia. It's the first FDA approved total artificial heart. It's essentially a Jarvik 7, but with some small improvements in the material. It also uses air pressure to create a heartbeat. It was implemented to around 1,500 people and gave more than 600 years to live in total. Another example to total artificial heart is AbioCore from Abiomed. Actually, I find this pretty interesting. It is a self-contained total artificial heart with no wires or tubes penetrate to skin. Only removal and the replacement of the battery would require surgery. There is a coil and an internal lithium-ion battery inside the body. We could charge it with an external battery. So it was working like a wireless charging heart, but they stopped producing it due to some other reasons. And the newest update in total artificial heart sector is from the French company Carmat's total artificial heart. This one received its FDA only last week. So if I would be presenting this last week, this wouldn't be a part of my presentation. It is also a self-contained total artificial heart, but with external batteries outside the body. There are two motorized hydraulic pumps in this heart, and it prevents clot formation in veins to eliminate the danger clot creates for humans. A double-layer hybrid membrane divides each ventricle into a blood compartment and an actuating fluid compartment. It also has embedded electronics, microprocessors, and sensors in the heart, and they allow autoregulated responses to patients' changing needs. So in the future, we hope to have self-contained artificial hearts with nothing going through the skin, with a power source which doesn't require to change.
Imagine being able to control your device with your mind. Thanks to the ever-advancing nanotechnology, that future may not be so far away. Nanotechnology is a set of methods and instruments that allows a connection between devices and the nervous system of humans. Currently, it's highly being used in the medical industry, which I will focus on today. It's used in the treatment and diagnosis instruments for neurological diseases, and every day it is making many people's lives better. Let's see how it's done. Neurotechnology can be divided into three different functions: alter, extend, and monitor. Certain implants can be placed in the patient's brain with disease like Parkinson's to alter the brain activity in order to decrease or vanish symptoms. When it comes to extending, neurotechnology is used to transmit brain signals in order to control external devices. Robotic hands or legs are not a fiction anymore. Last but not least, we have the monitoring function, which is the process of monitoring and analyzing brain activity in order to diagnose illness. EEG is an example of such device. All of this technology is about to hit a turning point because of the latest news coming from a technological celebrity of our era. I believe all of you heard about Elon Musk. Well, last summer, he announced a project called Neuralink that will revolutionize neurotechnology and change it once and for all. As Elon Musk himself states, Neuralink is ultra-high bandwidth brain-machine interface to connect human and computers. Neuralink will be able to replace all the technologies I have previously mentioned. There are only one small discrete implant. Let's see an example. On your left-hand side, you are seeing the features of deep brain stimulus technology that is used for Parkinson's disease. Neuralink will be able to target not only Parkinson's, but many other neurological diseases with a small device, placed with a short robotic surgery. And it's believed that surgery will not require general anesthesia or patients staying at the hospital. This is how Elon Musk is planning to change the neurotechnology. Now let's see how it works briefly. Neuralink neurons in our brains are connected to each other to form a network. They establish connection via chemical or neurotransmitter. These actions generate an electric field. The link that is placed in the brain tissue can sense the electric field and translate the signals it has to receives an algorithm the computer can read. The computer then uses the algorithm in order to alter, extend, or monitor brain activity. Here you can nurture neural threads that you touch the brain tissue. Each thread contains many electrodes for detecting the signals from the brain. The link has an all-day battery life and can be recharged overnight via inductive charger that wirelessly connects to the device, as you can see in the picture. Elon Musk is planning to use this technology also for entertainment purposes, like being able to control our smartphones with our mind. Thank you for listening us. Any comments or questions? And here is our reference link.